Zara pressed her scaled palm against the cold metal wall of the observation deck and watched the human ship drift closer to her vessel. The sleek craft moved with purpose through the asteroid field where her people had set their trap. She should feel satisfied. The ambush would work perfectly. The humans would never see it coming, but something twisted in her chest as she studied the approaching vessel. Her captain Vex stood beside her with his forearms crossed. His reptilian features showed no emotion as he watched their prey move into position. The humans had been expanding through this sector for months now, taking planets, building colonies, acting like they owned the galaxy. Today that would end. Zara touched the communication device on her wrist. She could warn them. Send a signal, tell them to turn back before it was too late, but that would be treason against her own species. The Keth had been planning this strike for weeks. The human ship was small compared to their battle cruiser, only a crew of maybe 20, probably explorers or researchers, people who had families waiting for them back on Earth. She shook her head and tried to focus on the mission. Humans were dangerous. Everyone in the galaxy knew this. They fought wars constantly. They destroyed their own planet with pollution and weapons. They were violent and unpredictable. So why did her heart race as she watched them fly straight into danger? The human vessel moved between two large asteroids, perfect position for the trap. Vex raised his hand to signal the weapons crew. In moments, their plasma cannons would tear the human ship apart. Zara closed her eyes and made her choice. Her fingers flew across the communication panel. She sent an encrypted message on a frequency humans often used. 3 words that could save their lives and doom her own. Turn back now. The human ship suddenly changed course. It pulled hard to the left and accelerated past the asteroid field. Vex roared in anger and spun to face his crew. Who warned them, he demanded. Zara kept her face calm even as her hearts pounded. The Keth had 2 hearts and both of hers were beating fast enough to make her dizzy. She watched the human ship escape into hyperspace and felt relief flood through her body. They were safe, but she was not. Vex ordered a full investigation. Every crew member would be questioned. Their communication logs would be checked. It would not take long for them to trace the warning message back to her station. The next few hours passed slowly. Zara tried to act normal as security officers moved through the ship. She helped with routine maintenance and responded to orders like always, but she could feel eyes watching her. When they finally came for her, she was in her quarters reading reports. 4 guards in black armor stood in her doorway. Behind them was Vex with murder in his yellow eyes. You betrayed your own kind, he said. Zara stood up slowly. Her people valued honor above everything else. Betrayal was the worst crime possible. The punishment was death. I saved innocent lives, she replied. Vex laughed bitterly. Innocent lives, those humans kill everything they touch. They spread across the galaxy like a disease. We were doing the universe a favor. They were explorers, not warriors. All humans are warriors. Vex stepped closer. His claws extended from his fingertips. You have forgotten what they did to the Centauri colonies, what they did to the trading stations at Rigel. Zara had heard the stories. Humans could be brutal in war, but she had also studied their culture, their art and music, their capacity for love and sacrifice. They were more complex than her people wanted to admit. The guards moved forward to arrest her. Zara did not resist. She had known this moment would come when she sent that warning. She had chosen to save human lives over her own safety. They locked her in the detention cells deep in the ship. The walls were bare metal and the air was cold. A force field blocked the entrance. She would wait here until they reached the Keith homeworld. Then she would face trial and execution, but at least those humans were alive. Hours passed in silence. Zara meditated and tried to find peace with her decision. She thought about her family back home. Her younger brother who looked up to her. Her parents who had been so proud when she joined the fleet. They would be ashamed now. A soft sound made her look up. The corridor lights had gone out. Emergency power cast everything in red shadows. Something was wrong. Alarms began blaring throughout the ship. She heard running footsteps and shouted orders. An attack was happening. But who would dare strike a Keth battlecruiser? The force field blocking her cell flickered and died. The power systems were failing. Zara stepped into the corridor and listened to the chaos above. Weapons fire echoed through the metal halls. She made her way toward the detention level exit. If the ship was under attack, she needed to reach an escape pod. Whatever was happening up there sounded serious. The elevator was not working, so she climbed the emergency ladder. Each level she passed showed more damage. Smoke filled the air and sparks flew from broken conduits. The attack was devastating. When she finally reached the main deck, she stopped in shock. Humans were fighting through the corridors. They moved in small teams with military precision. Their weapons were crude compared to Keth technology, but they used them effectively. They covered each other and advanced methodically through the ship. How had they gotten aboard? Then she saw him. A human male in black combat armor was pinned down behind a damaged bulkhead. 3 Keth warriors had him surrounded and were closing in for the kill. Their energy weapons glowed as they prepared to fire. Zara should have stayed hidden. She should have found an escape pod and fled. This was not her fight, but she remembered the moment she had warned the human ship. The choice between right and wrong, between saving lives and following orders. She grabbed a plasma rifle from a fallen Keth soldier and opened fire. The energy bolt struck 2 of the warriors in the back. They collapsed instantly. The third spun around in surprise, giving the human time to shoot him down. The human looked at Zara with confusion. She was clearly Keth, but she had just saved his life. His weapon remained pointed at her, but his finger was not on the trigger. "You warned us," he said. She nodded. It was not a question. Somehow he knew. What, because it was right. The human studied her for a moment. Behind his helmet visor, she could see intelligent brown eyes. He was young, maybe in his 20s. Someone who had probably never expected to be fighting aliens in deep space. "My name is Jake," he said finally. "Zara." More weapons fire erupted nearby. Jake looked toward the sound and then back at her. "We need to get out of here," he said. "Our ship is in the docking bay." "You coming?" She should refuse. Going with the humans would make her a permanent exile from her own people. But staying would mean certain death when Vex found her. And something about this human made her want to trust him. They ran through the damaged corridors together. Jake moved with practiced efficiency, while Zara used her knowledge of the ship to guide them toward the docking bay. They avoided patrols and slipped past security checkpoints. When they finally reached the bay, Zara gasped. The human ship was much larger than she had expected. It was not an exploration vessel, but a military cruiser, armed and armored for serious combat. More humans were loading equipment and wounded crew members. They worked quickly but carefully. No one was left behind. Jake led her up the boarding ramp. Other humans stared at her with suspicion, but none tried to stop her. Their leader was a woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. "This is Captain Lisa Rodriguez," Jake said. "She saved my life." The captain looked Zara up and down. "Why would a Keth help humans? I sent the warning message that let you escape the ambush," Zara replied. Captain Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. "You are the one who saved my crew, yes, why? Because you did not deserve to die in a trap." The captain was quiet for a moment. Around them, the other humans finished their preparations. The ship would launch soon. "You cannot go home," Rodriguez said finally. "I know, then you are welcome here. Anyone who saves human lives has earned our protection." The ship launched from the Keth vessel just as Vex and his remaining forces reached the docking bay. Zara watched through a viewport as her former ship grew smaller in the distance. She was leaving everything she had ever known, but she was alive, and so were these humans. Jake sat down beside her as they jumped to hyperspace. "What will you do now?" he asked. "I do not know," she admitted. "I am an exile now. I can never return to my people. You could stay with us. We can always use good people." Zara looked around the human ship. The crew was treating their wounded and repairing damage from the fight. But they also talked and laughed together. They cared about each other in a way that seemed foreign to her rigid Keth culture. Maybe she could find a new home here. She had walked into danger when she sent that warning. But sometimes the most dangerous choice was also the right one. And this human Jake had walked into danger too when he fought through an enemy ship to rescue his crew. Neither of them had turned away when lives were at stake. Perhaps that was what made humans so formidable. Not their weapons or their technology, but their willingness to risk everything for what they believed was right. As the ship carried them toward human space, Zara realized she had learned something important. Courage was not about following orders or obeying your leaders. Courage was about making the hard choice when everything was on the line. Even when you walked into danger, even when you could not turn away.